I didn't realize paperwork could feel like a leash until she wrapped it around my throat and smiled like she was doing me a favor. Before her, documents were just paper. Forms, dates, signatures. Boring shit. After her, they became weapons. They became foreplay. She could ruin my life with a screenshot and still kiss me goodnight like nothing was wrong. The fucked up part is how normal it felt at first. I was already living tight, watching my mouth, watching my moves, making sure I didn't stand out. Fear was my baseline. She didn't introduce it. She just learned how to touch it. She asked questions the way someone runs their fingers along a scar, slow, curious, pretending it's tenderness. Where are you from again? How long have you been here? That must be stressful, huh? She said it softly, like concern, like intimacy. I mistook her calm for safety. That was my first mistake. Calm doesn't mean kind. Calm means controlled. By the time I understood she wasn't helping me, she was holding me, it was already too late. She had my passwords, my files, my future sitting in her inbox, and every time I thought about pushing back, about asking for my shit back, my stomach would knot up because I knew. One text from her, one accidental email, and I'd be gone. Not brokenhearted. Gone. And she knew it. She always fucking knew it. I met her when I was trying to disappear into normalcy. That was the whole strategy. Look boring, act boring, don't draw heat. I didn't need romance. I didn't need drama. I needed stability like oxygen. She clocked that in about 5 minutes. Some people smell desperation like blood in the water. She didn't flirt like someone hoping to be wanted. She flirted like someone measuring value. Her compliments weren't about me. They were about what I represented. You're so disciplined. You're not like these other guys. You're careful. She said careful like it was sexy. Like restraint turned her on. That should have scared me. Instead, it made me feel seen. That's how stupid wanting makes you. The questions came early, slipped in between drinks and jokes. What visa were you on? Was it hard to renew? Did you have help with your paperwork? She laughed while she asked, like it was casual, like she was just curious about my life. I told myself it was fine. I told myself she couldn't hurt me because she wasn't loud, wasn't cruel. She was calm, thoughtful, concerned. That word, concerned, became the knife she used for everything. She framed herself as a helper before I ever asked for help. That was deliberate. One night, after sex that felt good enough to make me stupid, she traced a finger over my chest and said, "You know, if you ever needed help with forms or deadlines, I'm really good at that stuff." Like she was offering me a glass of water. Like it was nothing. I should have said no. Instead, I felt relief wash over me so hard, it almost hurt. Relief is dangerous when you've been holding your breath for years. The dependency didn't arrive all at once. It crept in. A missed date here, a reminder there. She offered to organize my files, said it would help me relax. I handed over logins I should have guarded like my fucking soul. She thanked me with a kiss and called me sweet for trusting her. That word, trusting, started sounding like an accusation later. Every time I asked for clarity, she twisted it. I'd say, "I just want to understand what's been submitted." And she'd laugh and say, "Why are you so intense about this?" Intense, paranoid, anxious. She labeled my fear until it felt ugly. Then she'd pull away emotionally, go cold, make me feel like I'd fucked something up by needing reassurance. She started setting rules without ever calling them rules. Don't post that. It draws attention. Maybe don't hang out with them. They seem reckless. If you get pulled over like that, it could be bad for you. She said for you like she was protecting me, like she was on my side. Meanwhile, my world was shrinking. Friends faded out. Nights out disappeared. Everything started orbiting her comfort, her approval. And God help me, part of me liked it. That's the part that still makes me feel sick. She made fear feel intimate. She made control feel like care. When she talked about my future, her voice would drop, get quiet, almost tender. "You're safe with me," she'd say. And I wanted to believe it so badly, I ignored how small my life was getting. By the end of that chapter, I wasn't asking if she was helping me. I was asking myself how I'd survive without her. And that was the moment the leash clicked closed, even if I didn't hear it yet. The first time she used it, it was subtle enough that I almost missed it. She mentioned a form I'd forgotten to submit, said it lightly, like a joke. "Good thing I caught that," she said, smiling. "You'd be screwed otherwise." Screwed. She laughed when she said it. I laughed too, even though my chest tightened. Fear has a way of turning into compliance, real fast. After that, the reminders came with conditions. Not spoken ones, felt ones. If I was attentive, affectionate, available when she wanted me, things moved smoothly. Deadlines met. Emails sent. When I pushed back, when I questioned her or asked for my files, something would get delayed. She'd sigh, tell me she was overwhelmed, tell me I was adding pressure. Then she'd go quiet, leave me stewing in my own panic until I apologized for needing my own fucking life handled. Sex became the glue she used to hold it all together. She'd bring up my status in bed, whispering it like a secret we shared. "You're so lucky," she'd murmur. "You know how fragile this all is." The way she said fragile made my skin prickle. It wasn't arousal exactly. It was power wearing a sexy mask. She never said do this or else. She didn't have to. She just let the silence stretch after those comments. Let my imagination do the damage. Then came the ask. Not dramatic. Not threatening. Just a small shift in tone one night when we were sitting on the couch. She needed me to do her a favor. Something messy. Something that would look bad if anyone asked questions. She framed it like loyalty, like partnership. "You understand how things can get complicated for you," she said, eyes steady on mine. "I'd hate for anyone to misunderstand your situation." My stomach dropped. My mouth went dry. I felt exposed, naked in a way sex never made me feel, and I nodded. Because she'd trained me to associate fear with closeness, because saying no felt more dangerous than saying yes. After that, it escalated fast. She started monitoring my tone, my messages, my reactions. If I got angry, she'd screenshot it. If I cursed, she'd save it. She told me I was volatile, that I needed to be careful how I came across. "People don't always sympathize with men like you," she said once, like it was advice. Like she wasn't the one provoking me, poking at my panic until I snapped. Every argument ended the same way, with me apologizing for being scared, for being angry, for being human. She'd comfort me afterward, stroke my hair, tell me she just wanted what was best for me. That's the sickest part. How safe it felt right after she crushed me. How warm the cage was. By the time I realized I was doing things I'd never have agreed to before, my sense of right and wrong was fucked beyond recognition. Everything was measured against one question: will this keep her calm? Because her calm was my safety. When it blew up, it didn't creep. It detonated. A call, then another. An email with language that made my heart stutter. Review, concerns, inconsistencies. I remember my hands shaking so badly I dropped my phone. She stayed calm. Of course she did. Calm was her brand. She positioned herself instantly as the worried partner, the responsible one. She talked about my anxiety like it was a condition she'd been managing. Every panicked message I'd ever sent her, every profanity-laced rant suddenly became evidence, proof that I was unstable, that I needed guidance, that she was the one holding things together. I was spiraling, and she let me. She watched it happen like she was studying a lab rat. When I begged her to stop interfering, to give me my files back, she looked at me with that same soft concern and said, "This is exactly why I'm worried about you." Like my desperation was her justification. The exposure didn't come from me being brave. It came from someone else paying attention. An advocate, a boring, thorough, relentless person who didn't buy the calm act. They dug into the timeline, noticed the gaps, the delays that only happened after I resisted, the submissions made late, with my name on them, but not my consent. The pattern was there, ugly and undeniable. When confronted, she didn't scream. She didn't cry. She recalculated. But this time, there were witnesses. This time, the paper trail didn't lie. Her concern cracked under scrutiny. The leash slipped out of her hands. I wish I could say I felt relief. I didn't. I felt hollow, exposed in a different way. Everyone saw what she'd done, but they also saw what I'd allowed. The compromises, the messages, the way I'd let fear turn me into something small and mean and compliant. She was exposed, yes, but I was stripped. The last thing she said to me wasn't an apology. It was a sigh. I was just trying to help, she said. And for a split second, my body reacted like it always did. Like maybe she was right. Like maybe I'd imagined the harm. That reflex is the real damage. That's what she left me with. Even now, with her name flagged and her story unraveling, I flinch when my phone buzzes. I still hear her voice in my head, calm and careful, reminding me how fragile things can be. She doesn't hold my papers anymore. But the fear she trained into me, that shit stayed.